Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We're going to see a very optimistic and upbeat convention this week from President Trump and our Republican allies, and actually from our Democratic and Independent allies as well. One of the things you're going to see this week is a complete change in the perception that I believe that the media tries to tell about what a Trump supporter looks like or who a Trump supporter is. We're going to talk about the American story, about all the accomplishments that we've had over the last 4 years with President Trump and what the president's second-term vision is going to look like.
Jason Miller right there. Everybody's trying to figure out what's it look like. It's got to be more optimistic. I'll tell you that. Look, last week, you say what you want about Biden's. Like I said, it wasn't a transcendent, wasn't one of these things like, oh my God, that was just, you could feel it. Didn't give anybody the tingles, right? But the rest of it was, I hate Trump. Everything in the world's wrong because of Trump. Trump's the worst. Trump's destroyed everything. Trump's bad. Trump's bad. Trump's bad. If you're trying to win somebody's vote, telling somebody else the other side sucks may work for your base, but for the people out there who are in the middle, who are unsure, because they like a lot of what Trump's done, but they don't really like Trump himself. They like some of the stuff that Trump has done along the way, some of the stuff he talks about, but they're not sure. They want another 4 years of chaos and craziness. In saying that, how do you win them over? Well, last week was just morbid and wah, 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 and they realized that. I spoke to several people in and around the DNC last week who all said by the time it was Biden's turn to go, they were saying to themselves, we've got to make sure that this is more about Biden and less about how bad Trump is, because we spent 3 days of doing that, and that's not making people feel like, hey, this is going to be great. This just is one of those things where Trump sucks, so vote for us.
And this is a big difference, Chuck, between President Trump in his convention this week and the Democrats last week. Last week, it was a massive grievance fest. We didn't hear about the vision for the future, how their policies would help people, and there's a reason for that. The reason is because they didn't want to talk about the $4 trillion in tax hikes, a Green New Deal, at a time when we can't afford to stop our economy and our economic growth. They want to throw it in reverse and go back to the policies of the past. That's wrong.
Again, Jason Miller, I'm with Chuck Todd. And he's right. You know, I was having a discussion with one of my other radio buddies the other day, and who can't stand Trump at all. He can't. He likes a lot of stuff Trump's done, but he can't stand Trump. And it's all based on the coronavirus and the chaos. And he realized that the chaos isn't all Trump. The media loves the fact that they can battle with Trump, and Trump likes to battle, and it gives them something to talk about. And Trump goes out and he's rah, rah, rah. If we're looking to pull the country out of the morose sadness that we're currently finding ourselves in, and you listen to people on the left, at times you're thinking to yourself, okay, you know, it's like listen to a goth kid. Who do you want? Remember the old great comedian, Richard Lewis? Everything's bad, everything's down, it's all about the therapy, life sucks. And you ask yourself, do you want Richard Lewis to pull you out of the ditch if we're in the ditch, or do you want Anthony Robbins? And that sounds stupid, but that's kind of the reality at this moment in time. That's what Trump gives you. He is, let's go, let's go, let's go, for lack of a better term. He's kind of one of those, you know, self-help gurus. And that's, it sounds like, oh, really, that sounds stupid. No, but it's kind of true. We're going to be great. Things are going to go awesome. We're going to fly. Things are going to be beautiful. We're going to crash through the negativity and smash through the way that we've gone about things. We're going to rock and roll. This is what it's going to be. You guys can't stop us. Here we go. Last week was the exact opposite. And that's tough for a lot of people. That is. Because I listened to it and I wanted to hear what they were going to say. I knew I wasn't going to get much of policy. You don't get policy. This is not policy time. This is a pep rally, cheer, rah, 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 we're going to go beat state thing. But I didn't even get a lot of that last week. What I got a lot was Trump sucks.
What you're going to see is a very different depiction of America. What we saw last week from the Democrats, really their entire convention was about bashing Donald Trump. And it was a dark, dismal, and really depressing vision of America, I think, that they presented. We are going to have the opposite. Ours will be hopeful and inspirational and patriotic. And we want people at the end of our 4 days to be reminded that America continues to be the greatest, most exceptional nation in the world.
Laura Trump right there. We might get some of that. We might get some of that. I think it will be more positive. And if I'm Trump, I come out and he's going to speak every night. Think about that. He's going to speak every single night. Every single night he's speaking. So that's also very odd. You don't normally get that, but he's going to be speaking because it's a chance for him to do what he does best. He knows he's got to sell everything he possibly can to the American people that he deserves 4 more years. He's got to do everything he can to do that to people who are on the fence because he's going to need every single vote across the board. But if you look and see what's going on out there right now, slowly but surely, it's tightening a little bit. Slowly but surely, those once 10, 11, 12 points are now 5 and 6 points. And some where they were 5 and 6, it's getting closer to a dead heat. Slowly but surely, it's starting to happen.
It's particularly dangerous to talk about polling before the debates because so much can change. And we've had half of the elections going back to 1968. One half of them have seen a change of 10 points or more between the candidate who's leading on Labor Day and what happens on Election Day.
Frank Lutz right there. And remember, polling is totally different than it was 8 years ago. You've got the factor that people are afraid to say, I support Trump because they're going to be labeled everything from a racist to, you name it, that people are going to come up with something. And so people keep their mouth shut. The way that polling has changed because of Trump is totally, totally different. And we haven't seen that debate, and that is going to be big.
So I say to people, take them with a grain of salt. Take a look at the movement, at the change between surveys over a week, 10 days, 2 weeks. And the trend for Donald Trump has actually been favorable. It's been positive over the last 3-4 weeks.
Slowly but surely, things are moving. Slowly but surely. So if you're a Trump supporter, you've got to be excited about that. It's not over, but he has a lot to work to do. I would say if it was held today, I think Joe Biden wins, but it's not being held today. I'm not the only one who believes in that.
I'm going to say something that's going to bother you and may bother some of your viewers. I still believe that if the election were held right now, were held today, Joe Biden would win. But we've got the Republican convention coming up. We got the debates coming up. And the trend is definitely over the past couple weeks in Donald Trump's favor.
Frank Lutz right there. And I think the exact same thing. I've said this, and I'll continue to say it. Both of them will have missteps. Both of them will have moments of, both of them will have moments of greatness. And both of them will snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, I think at least once or twice. It might be one of those things where the last person not to screw up gets across the finish line. But we got a ways to go yet. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. All that being said, it's not gone anywhere. It's called the coronavirus. It's still languishing out there. Poll that said most Republicans feel comfortable the amount of lives that are lost. Remember when this thing first started, right? Before I get into, I'm not defending anybody's thought. Nobody wants anybody to die. And if you think that, they're totally fine with that. Remember, when this thing first started, it was 2 million, 2.1 million. Then it was down to 1.5. Then it was down to 1.7. If you would have told people in February when it took off and people were starting to look at the numbers, there's at least going to be 1 million people, that come September, right, so we're a week away from September, basically 8 days, that right around the end of August, early September, it would be about 175,000 deaths compared to what they were pitching us. Everybody would have said yes. Everybody would have said, absolutely, we'll take that. Because they were telling us it was going to be 1 million, 2 million, 500,000, 600,000. 250,000. We may get to that, but not the way that it was being pitched. So if you would have said that, back then and offered you that, people that took it in a heartbeat. But remember, this is also the same people that were telling us there's nothing for us to worry about. This thing isn't contagious the way that people think it is. It's not transferred human to human. Even if, they pitched everything, and by the time it was out there and realized it was screwy and too late and we had messed up and we hadn't done what we needed to do, it'd become this insane fight of politics and BS. But at the end of the day, well, we should have done a lot better. And I will look at Trump and say, you failed as well as many of the governors. If you would have told people February, March, now that people had realized, after Fauci said we've got nothing to worry about, we should watch it. The WHO said we got nothing to worry about. It's not really a big deal. If you would have said 175,000 right around September 1st, people, I think, would have said, okay. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. HelloFresh.com. Go there, use promo code Benson. Summer plans, they've always looked a little different now with this thing around. So you want to spice up that meal. You want to do something. How about something contact-free delivered right to your door? 22 chef-curated recipes each week. Low-calorie, vegetarian, family-friendly. I did low-calorie last week. Loved it. You don't have to worry about the meal planning. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You don't have to worry fighting with the kids, any of that stuff. It's just quick and easy. Recyclable packing, pre-portioned ingredients, so that means not a lot of waste, which is fantastic, and you save big, 40% versus shopping at the store. Easy to do. It takes about 20 minutes from the time you choose what you're going to do. The recipe's right there in the bag. You put it together. Boom. From the time that you put it in the oven or cook it up to the time you sit down and start eating, about 20 minutes. And the other thing about HelloFresh is great. Let's say you need to add some more meals because you're going through a little faster. You got visitors. You can do that. Maybe you're going to be on vacation. You can skip a week as well. It's all up to you. HelloFresh is flexible to fit your lifestyle. A #1 meal kit in America. It is HelloFresh. Go to HelloFresh.com. Use promo code Benson. $80 off, including free shipping on your first box. That's promo code Benson at HelloFresh.com for $80 off, including free shipping. HelloFresh.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
Kellyanne Conway, one of Donald Trump's longest-serving advisors, announced she's leaving her post at the end of the month, breaking the news to the president in the Oval Office. In her resignation letter, she cited the need to spend more time with her family, writing, "For now and for my beloved children, it will be less drama, more mama."
Yeah, and there was a lot of drama. If you've seen any of her kids' posts, so you already know how her husband is. So George Conway can't stand Trump. He's part of the whole Lincoln Project, which was put together to try to rebuild the Republicans and oust Trump. Mostly oust Trump and to try to rebuild the Republican Party in a more conservative nature. He can't stand Trump. So imagine this. Your wife works for a human being that you find vile and disgusting. It's crazy. On top of that, their daughter was talking about emancipation. She was posting stuff about the not just about the politics. She says it's not about that. It's about the drama and the violence and all this. I've always said, I don't know what that's like at home. I don't. There's a great television show that is awesome, and it's called Billions, and it's on, I think it's on Showtime, and Bobby Axelrod is this guy that is like, he's the slick, money genius, worth billions of dollars, runs a hedge fund called Axe Capital. And then Giamatti is trying to stop him. He's kind of like the AG of New York, and they battle it out. The weird thing in the show is his wife, the AG's wife, works for Axelrod. So that's kind of the thing where the battle continues to go. And this was one of those things. Something had to give. And she had been there forever. I don't know. Outside of family, I don't know who else is left that is that close to Trump. I could not tell you. So, yeah, this absolutely leaves a huge hole for Trump and his confidants, and that is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller each and every single day. You're having less and less people around that, A, you trust, and I don't know how many people around him now will tell him no. Maybe Melania? I don't know about Ivanka. Probably listens to Jared Kushner quite a bit. But how many people around him will tell him no? And you need that. You need somebody who's willing to check you. Even if it's the right thing to do, what you think you're doing, and you're not doing maliciously, you still need somebody to give you the scenario. You're not doing that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Text the program as well.
President Trump turning attention back to the coronavirus pandemic, announcing the FDA's emergency use authorization of convalescent plasma to treat patients with the virus.
The FDA has made the independent determination that the treatment is safe and very effective.
We dream in drug development of something like a 35% mortality reduction. This is a major advance.
Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar adding those treated early on benefited most from treatment.
Yeah, Trump is doing everything he can to push stuff out there. People will say it is a ploy. They're trying, right? This is the battle that you have going on. What's real? What's not real? How much of this is about the election? Everything is about the election. So let's push this out. Let's see what else we can get out there and try to get it out there as fast as possible, because that helps me in my re-election campaign. And if you're the Democrats, you want everything to be held off till the first of the year so you can look like the champions if something comes through. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. We'll touch more on that. Who's speaking throughout the next several days? Some interesting people, as well as the usuals. Talk a bit about that as well. And the NFL, crazy. You test positive, then you test negative. Who do we believe? Who do we not believe? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Look, because of the pandemic, a lot of the country's been distracted. I think these conventions are a real kickoff. We saw the Democrats last week have a very dark vision for America. You were talking about the great diversity earlier of their party, but a lot of those Republicans are not. I mean, those are people who are Washington elites, a lot of insiders, people who have, made their lives and their careers off of Washington. President Trump represents the American people. He's the outsider president.
That's Jared Kushner. Can they paint a better picture? I don't want to see 4 days of Biden is mentally incapacitated and they're going to, the left is going to destroy America. I got so many people last week. How could you say Biden's speech was good? I said it was good. I didn't say it was transcendent. He didn't talk about all the rioting going on the streets. Few places there are some certain issues. We talk about Seattle, we talk about Portland, Minneapolis. There was some issues. There's been issues in several places. Those are city issues. Those are your state issues. You act like if they become the people that run America for the next 4 years, that every city's going to look like that, and that's just not true. It's just not. Just like when Trump became president, I said, we're not going to have a nuclear war. It's just not going to happen. Right? It's not. It's not going to. Everybody was worried. This is it. He's going to take away everybody's rights, and he's going to install himself as emperor. He's already started to do with the post office. Chad, look what's going on. Blah, 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 blah. Settle down. Remember Obama? Remember Obama? People thought that Obama was going to pay for everything. and other people thought he was coming to take away your gods and your guns. None of that stuff happened. At all. At all.
And I think you're going to see a very hopeful vision for America that he's going to be unleashing. You're going to see a real diversity of the Republican Party that he's built. You're going to see it's going to be different than how the media tells you. And unlike the Democrats last week, where there was a lot of complaints, they didn't offer much by way of policy or solutions. President Trump will be laying out, real policies, real visions, real solutions for how he brings our country back and makes it stronger than ever before.
Look, here's the reality. This isn't a policy time. None of this stuff is about policy. This is about rah, 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 system bah. My team's better than your team. We're going to make America, blah, 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 blah. They all go out and they spin it the way that they want, but it's more about being a pep rally and less about policy. And that's where this is going to go. And I hope that it is more about we're going to be fine, America. We're going to get out of this, America, because I think America needs that. I think we can all agree. I don't want to see a situation where we spend 4 days talking about how crappy everything is. I think it gets old fast. We can be honest, say we've done some stuff that we should, looking back on it, we would have done stuff differently. We're in a tough position, but we are America and everybody counts us out. Do that at your own risk. And walk us through where we're going, the vision that you have, and less about Joe Biden sucks. Because that, to me, is a huge turnoff as well. I don't want to see any of that. Tell me what you're going to do to get us back. But Trump's going to have 4 nights. And let me tell you something. Trump, he enjoys this moment.
This is Donald Trump's reality TV moment. This is going to be every night just heaps and gobs of praise and nothing. I mean, the last 3 years, nothing bad has happened. And COVID-19 is China's fault. It's not anyone else's but China's, And the fact that it spread the way it did is because those governors in those blue states didn't listen to Donald Trump. I mean, so that's what this is going to be about.
Michael Steele, RNC. Used to be the dude who ran the RNC. Here's something else, though. And what I've talked about on more than a few occasions is if you're going to try to win over people that are hanging out that center, maybe they voted for Trump. If you're going to try to do that, you've got to make it seem like you're going to, you heard Biden last week, I'm going to be president for everybody. Well, nobody really buys into any of that stuff because, you may be polar opposite me in everything politically. But when you insult people, even if they're like, I can't stand Trump or whoever it is, what ends up happening? They dig in deeper. Why? Because you made it personal. Don't make it personal.
We are about something other than one man, and we're willing to speak to the country about something other than one man. I've been a Republican for over 40 years. I'll be damned if I'm going to cede that ground to Donald Trump, who is not now, nor has he ever been a Republican, who is not now, nor has he ever been a conservative. So all y'all want to play this little game that Donald Trump is like you're stupid. You're being played. You're getting punked. But what's so bad about it is you're complicit in your own punking.
And Republican is a party, conservative is an ideology. Democrats are a party, right? Progressivism, liberalism, that is an ideology. Just gives you the vehicle to try to get through what you think that you want to do politically. That's all it is. But when you insult people, and I've said... When Trump came on the stage, if you will, when he came down that escalator and he did the things that he did and the way that he started out, I said Trump's going to use the Republican Party as a vehicle to become president. He is not going to be a conservative. Now, in saying that, the way that he's handled things has been very conservative. Look at what he's done in the court system. Cannot deny that. That is huge. That is massive. Even if he doesn't get another pick and he's gone in a few months, the way that he shaped the lower courts is massive. Trying to pull out of the Middle East. Give him huge credit for that. I give him massive credit for that. It's funny, people that don't want us there on the Democratic side have all of a sudden become, well, hold on a second. I didn't like the way he handled immigration, but I liked the fact that he wanted to do something with immigration. Taxes. Look at what he did in the Middle East with the United Arab Emirates and Israel. If that's any other president, somebody's getting a Nobel Peace Prize. So he's done a lot of things to me that I thought that's on the conservative side of things. You can look and go, pretty good, pretty good. I mean, it's the other stuff. At the end of the day, this is a personality contest right now. Do you want another 4 years of Trump?
Well, it's simple. Donald Trump has been president for 4 years, and America is very obviously not better off than we were 4 years ago. Yes, this is about character, but it's also about the failed leadership of this president, the fact that our country is doing the worst of any developed nation when it comes to dealing with the coronavirus, that some of our economic numbers are the worst they've been since 1876.
But that's coronavirus. Before that, you had no argument. And he hasn't handled it well. But we also have a much different world than other nations. Other nations are singular. We are not. We have 50-plus little nations inside of a big nation. And everybody else wants to have their say. They know their states better. They want to do the things that they want to do, and they want to handle it the way that they want to handle it. If Joe Biden becomes president, he's already talking about shutting down again if he had to. And that, to me, you watch what happens if he does that. We all want a federal response. Well, a lot of the blue states do. But what do you think the red states would do?
If you're sworn in come January and we have coronavirus and the flu combining, which many scientists have said is a real possibility, would you be prepared to shut this country down again?
I would be prepared to do whatever it takes to save lives, because we cannot get the country moving until we control the virus. That is the fundamental flaw of this administration's thinking to begin with. In order to keep the country running and moving and the economy growing and people employed, you have to fix the virus. You have to deal with the virus.
So if the scientists say, shut it down?
I would shut it down. I would listen to the scientists.
So shut it down. So how are you going to shut down something if states have rights? That's the pushback you're going to get. We have individual rights within our states that will push back. So if you tell Texas, shut down, Arizona, shut down, and things aren't bad, they're going to go, we're going to sue you. Because that's what we do. So it's much different when we try to compare ourselves to countries that are singular in nature with no dictatorship. Could we have done better at testing? 100%. Should Trump have been more aware of this? Absolutely. Should there have been less fighting? 100%. No, but the reality is it's not the same when we try to compare us versus other nations. It's just not the same. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Love hearing from you. So it was very interesting in the NFL. So the NFL is testing big time. And the way that they were doing it originally, and still, I guess still are, is the NFLPA, and that's the Players Association, and the NFL agreed they were going to do daily testing. So they started doing daily testing, and then all of a sudden, they said, you know what? This was only going to be for X amount of days, and then we're going to go to every other day. But they said it's working out so well, let's just keep it. And they've done that, so they've kept it. Then you had a team, I think it was the Cleveland Browns, I think it was 10 players tested positive from this one lab. They retook the test. They tested negative. Other teams, their players all tested negative from that lab. So nobody really knows. And there's lots of questions out there that people are trying to figure out, how do we do the NFL season in a situation like this where we're trying to get a handle on stuff? Because it's not like baseball. It's not like you can miss a game and say, well, we're going to cancel this game and we'll make it up down the road. You're not going to do that with football. There's only 16 games. The logistics of doing something like that are insane. It's just not going to happen.
Are there
other labs that are having this problem that are not NFL, where people may be getting a false positive because of a lab error and don't have the same checks and balances that the NFL has.
Yeah. Meaning if you test positive, if you're a normal person, you test positive, are you going to go get a second test? Most people won't. They'll just take it at face value. Same thing goes for, Anthony and I were talking earlier about the test for the antibodies. I got the test for the antibodies, and my doctor said they're not very good. It's not going to work. I'm just going to tell you. First of all, you're past a certain threshold. After about 30 to 45 days, the antibodies drop at such a level you won't be detected, and I was well after that. And the second thing he said is these things aren't very good. And we're finding more and more of that. The testing has been a nightmare. And people are hoping, because think about this, football is less than a month away. It kicks off September 13th. And it's been weird because I'm not really following football like I normally would. And the reason is pretty simple. We're just not hearing about it. We're not in the camps all day. We're not seeing any preseason games. It's just very quiet. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. One thing I do know, football's going to be here, and more of the teams are saying we're going to get fans in the stadium in some way, shape, or form. It won't be 60,000. It won't be 80,000. It'll probably be 25,000. But it's better than nothing. I'll tell you that. Absolutely. Raycon, best earbuds around. You will love them. I love mine. Sound quality, check. Noise isolating fit, check. Seamless Bluetooth pairing, check. 6 hours. Talk time, check. Earbuds like this normally cost you $200, $250. These are well under $100, and I'm going to save you money on top of that. You will love these things. There's no dangling stems or wires, none of that stuff. They're comfortable. And when you're making that video conference call, the little white thing that sticks out of your ear with those other ones, or the stems that dangle, you don't have to worry about any of those things. They're so comfortable, so stylish, so cool, and they fit in there, and you barely feel them. That's what I love about them. Get yours today and save an extra 15%. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. 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 Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
Citizens of the world. DC's 24-hour Fandom event Saturday gave us fresh looks at Wonder Woman 1984 and Tenet, and our first looks at forthcoming projects. But perhaps none more anticipated than the first trailer for The Batman.
I'm vengeance.
A brooding Robert Pattinson plays the title role in what promises to be the grittiest movie take yet on The Dark Knight, said to be set in the second year he wears the cape and cowl. The trailer's online now. The Batman debuts next year.
The hell are you supposed to be?
Whoa. The Batman. I think all the people who have played Batman, if I'm correct, are going to appear in this in some way, shape, or form. So that would be Michael Keaton, George Clooney, Val Kilmer, Christian Bale, and then you had Ben Affleck. So, and then Robert Pattinson. So all of them, in some weird way, shape, or form, should make some sort of appearance. And you got to have Linda Evans in there, right? If you're going to do Wonder Woman, got to have Linda Evans. We have got a little bit of box office news. Number one this weekend, Unhinged. Huge. About $5 million, which is massive when you consider that there was only about 1,800 theaters out there. Number two was SpongeBob. The Goonies at number 4, $260,000. See the Goonies? Because AMC released several old movies to try to get people back in. So you had Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, re-released out there. Not bad, though. So, little smile on the face, and it shows that people are willing to do what? People are willing to go back to the movies, which is cool, because I can't wait. People say, did you go see a movie this weekend? No, because no theater here. In fact, we're opening up 3 theaters I think today in Arizona, and if I'm correct, the closest one to me is like an hour and a half, 2 hours away. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks, they'll open up some more theaters. But still not bad. $5 million. I miss movies. Like I said, it's the thing I miss the most. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Again, tonight, the RNC throughout the day. You know, it's all going on right now. And all the way the big stuff kicks off late. Trump's 4 nights. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what it's going to be like. I do know that they're going to, at least in their words before it kicks off, try to paint a better vision of America, that we're in a better position than people realize. Things aren't as awful, and that opportunities are still out there, which is true. I mean, but we focus on the negative because it's way easier to be negative than it is to be positive, especially when you're going through crap. I get it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Check out Chad Benson Show TV. That is on the YouTube. This is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Delegates, welcome to the 2020 Republican National Convention.
Woo! Ronna McDaniel, she's the head of the RNC. She's kicking it off, kids. The RNC's turns. Their shot. Their time to step into the batter's box. What's it going to be like, Jason Miller?
We're going to see a very optimistic and upbeat convention this week from President Trump and our Republican allies, and actually from our Democratic and independent allies as well. One of the things you're going to see this week is a complete change in the perception that I believe that the media tries to tell about what a Trump supporter looks like or who a Trump supporter is. We're going to talk about the American story, about all the accomplishments that we've had over the last 4 years with President Trump, and what the president's second-term vision is going to look like.
What's it look like? I would love to think that that's what they're going to do. Like, this is going to be positive, upbeat, right? That's what this is going to be about. Like, hey, look, times are a little tough, but things were good until we got the coronavirus. We're going to get through this. When we get through this, we're going to be stronger for it. When we get stronger for it, we're going to build it back in a much bigger way. We're going to build America stronger again in a much bigger way. We've learned our lessons from this. We're going to get ourselves moving. We already had the foundation there. Now we just need to build it out. Let's be positive. Last week was not that. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I listened to a lot of it last week. It mostly was a Trump sucks fest, and everything in the world that's wrong is wrong because of Trump. And that's not true. It's just not. And if you're looking to win votes, if you're looking to get somebody to sitting there going, I'm not quite sure who I want to vote for, because there's plenty of those people out there that are they're on the fence, but they're at a point right now where they're thinking to themselves, do I do another 4 years of this? Because as much as Trump drives me crazy, the media drives me crazy. They're just as culpable in all of this. Both of them like to fight with each other. It's awful. So do I really want to do another 4 years of craziness and chaos? They have the advantage, though. They saw what happened last week, and they have the advantage to spin it in a different way, the RNC this week.
And this is a big difference, Chuck, between President Trump in his convention this week and the Democrats last week. Last week, it was a massive grievance fest. We didn't hear about the vision for the future, how their policies would help people, and there's a reason for that. The reason is because they didn't want to talk about the $4 trillion in tax hikes, a Green New Deal, at a time when we can't afford to stop our economy and our economic growth. They want to throw it in reverse and go back to the policies of the past. That's
Yeah, is that part of it? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of taxes that are going to be coming. We're going to pay some of this stuff down. We're throwing out a lot of money, and we have been since the beginning of this thing. And don't listen to any Republican out there that's like, I'm conservative when it comes to fiscal things. No, you're not. You like to spend as much as the Democrats do. So don't tell me that you're that. You just like to spend in different areas. So don't tell me that. But you have your chance. You have your chance now. You saw what they did. Now you have the chance to paint it in a much different direction. You have a chance to paint this thing in a direction where it makes you feel like, all right, this is what it's all about. Let me show you what we're going to look like. Let me show you what, once we get through this, what America is going to look like, how it's going to take off. Let me show you that. And we'll see if they do. We'll see if they do. Biden and Harris sat down over the weekend, ABC News, talk about their vision, talk about a lot of different things. But the reality is it was a lot of the same old same.
The idea that he would say something like that. No president has ever said anything like that. No president has ever used those words. And no president has said people coming out of fields with torches and spewing anti-Semitic bile and met by people who oppose them, and someone dies and he says they're good people on both sides. No president of the United States has ever said anything like that. Ever.
Ever? You never had, and none of our presidents have ever said anything? Maybe not in public. Private. There's a lot of stuff gets said in private. One of the things, though, they talked about is defunding police. You see what's going on there. You see what's happening in Portland. You see what's happening in Seattle. You've got what's going on in Kenosha, Wisconsin right now. You've got what's going on unrest in Minneapolis and across the country. There's just movement to defund the police. And Biden says, nah, hold on a second. Even though he did say in an interview about a month ago that reallocating and taking funds from the police and putting it elsewhere is something he would favor. And I've said, look, the way that we print money, the way that things are available, the way that we waste money, if policing is so bad, like, we would never say that about school, right? Like, it's never like, well, school sucks and they don't get good results, so let's take money away from them. We don't do that. We throw more money at it. Policing sucks, and what do we say? Let's take it away from them then. President Trump says that you want to defund the police. Do you?
No, I don't. By the way, he proposes cutting $500 million out of local police support. Look, what the police need is first of all, there has to be national standards that, in fact, apply to every police department in the country. And that's what we're going to do. I don't want to defund police departments. I think they need more help. They need more assistance. And we have to make it clear that this is about protecting neighborhoods, protecting people. Everybody across the board. So the only guy that actually put in a bill to actually defund the police is Donald Trump.
Oh, Donald Trump. States should be handling their own thing. Obviously, some money's going to be going into those things. And the states and the cities are voting on whether or not they want that. Do we need uniformity? That's what people say. Do we want, and this goes back to the difference between, in so many ways, the Democrats and the Republicans. Republicans look at states and say states' rights. You guys have the rights to have your own standards. Should there be a level that you get to? We could argue that. Nationwide, this is the minimum that you guys must do. And then everything else is going to be allowed up to the states and the cities themselves. But no, you've talked about reallocating funds. You've talked about that. And you don't have, I mean, the reality is you don't have, at the end of the day, it's still up to the cities. Like, Seattle wants to defund their police and take that money and move it elsewhere. That's kind of up to them. Same thing goes with Minneapolis. By the way, Minneapolis voted to do it, and they tried to figure out how they're going to make this thing work, and they realized halfway through, this just isn't it. It reminds me of many, many moons ago. Was it Ticketmaster? I think it was Ticketmaster, and I think it was not Jane's Addiction. Oh, my God. The one with Eddie Vedder. Who's Eddie Vedder? Is that Pearl Jam? Yeah, they tried to do... hey, we don't need Ticketmaster. We don't need all these fees. We don't need any of these things. We're going to do it ourselves. They got about 3 concerts in. It was an absolute debacle. Did not work. Fell apart fast. Cities are finding that out. What we need is more training for police. What we need is psych evaluations, understanding that these guys who've been out there for years and years are struggling. They're overworked and underpaid. And the other thing we need to do is we need to start realizing that they don't need to solve the world's problems. They're there to stop crime. They're there to try to catch the bad guys. They're there to break up stuff that's going on. They're not there to fix the world's problems. And we're handing them all of that stuff. In too many cases, we are. We're asking them to be, somebody who's dealing with homelessness, mental illness, drug addiction, a marriage counselor. And that's a tough thing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Love hearing from all of you. All that being said, coronavirus still out here. Trump looking at different things to do. One of the things is the plasma, convalescent plasma, and the program there. Could this help? Could this be big?
The FDA has issued an emergency use authorization, and that's such a powerful term, emergency use authorization for a treatment known as convalescent plasma. This is a powerful therapy that transfuses very, very strong antibodies from the blood of recovered patients to help treat patients battling a current infection. It has proven to reduce mortality by 35%. It's a tremendous number.
Yeah, that is a tremendous number. Now, Trump's announcements come through fast. He wants to get this thing out there. Obviously, you can look around and say, well, this is an election issue. If the quicker we can do this, the better it's going to be. Dr. Aish Jha.
I want a really high-quality study to help me understand for whom is it benefit, how beneficial is it, and I'm worried that the EUA will actually make it harder to get that study done.
Meaning pushing it through faster will make it tougher to find out if this thing works or it doesn't work. This is the politics of the coronavirus right here. This is what it's going to look like. And he's not ruled out some other stuff. So we'll see. We'll see. But the convalescing, so people have already had it, have built up antibodies. You pull the plasma out of that, you give it to people. But it's one of those things where you give it to them early on. Much like what people talked about hydroxychloroquine. If you give it to them late, it's not going to work. The doctor out of, was it Harvard or Yale? I always mix the two up. The epidemiologist who everybody poo-pooed because he was up there with some of the wackos that were up there pitching this thing that day in the day of the white coats, said, if you give this to people late in the game, it doesn't work. If you give it to them within the first 5 days of them testing positive, hydrochloroquine will work. And he was poo-pooed. Politics of a virus. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me. Car Shield, amazing company. So if you're like me, so I have a couple cars. One of them's older, doesn't have any electronics on it. I wanted, it's like it doesn't have anything on it. It's just a regular old commuter car. I have worried. What about the engine, the transmission? You know what I did? I got Car Shield. I don't need to worry about that. My newer car has all the electronics. I don't worry about any of the other stuff, but I am worried about the electronics. I got Car Shield for that. Car Shield has a plan that fits your budget and the plan that fits the things you need. You call them up, 800-CAR-6000, use code Benson. When you do that, be specific. Hey, you know what? I'm worried about this. I'm worried about my transmission. I'm worried about the electronics. They'll get you sorted out. You get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. Shop is the shop that you choose. They get them paid directly. You don't have to worry about anything else, right? Pay a small deductible. You move on with your life. It's the beauty of that. Find out how they can fit you as we're trying to save money across the board and many people are out there. Cars are running longer. Get yourself Car Shield. 800-CAR-6000. Code Benson saves you 10%. Or go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
No need to fear. We promise we won't give you a noogie and make you cry Russia, Russia, Russia.
Who is the fearless leader?
Fui.
Fui, fui, and double fui.
What is your language? This is a family show, remember?
Fui to family too.
Nostrovia. This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a look and see what's trending around the world, around the globe, globally. It's trending craziness, chaos, lunacy. Dustin Johnson watched golf yesterday. My God, just put a beat down on everybody. 11-shot victory. That's like winning by 77 points against. It's not like winning like when you watch Alabama play football against like Barbizon Beauty College and they beat him like 106-7 or something. It's like watching Alabama play other teams that are at the same level as them and then thumping them by that same score. That's how bad of a beating it was. It was awesome to watch. Kellyanne Conway, Champions League final, still trending. Yesterday, Bayern Munich beat Paris Saint-Germain 1-0 to hoist the cup. SummerSlam. Trending. Gone over to the magical world of Twitter and just let's see what's trending in the world of hate. By the way, the RNC is trending everywhere. So just people know that. RNC is trending everywhere. Jared is evil. Well, who do you think that would be? Jared Kushner? Kellyanne Conway. Jeff Flake endorses Biden. That's not a shocker. He was the first Republican to come out and to endorse anybody but Trump after all this stuff went down. He became president. And he was also on the way out. Flake was losing his seat. He was having a tougher time holding on to it. And so he bowed out and left his Senate seat out there, which is now being occupied by Kirsten Sinema. But not a shock. And the Republicans supposedly today are going to have some people that are going to come out and they're going to surprise some people, supposedly, when it comes to this. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. If they're going to have anybody that's going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe that person's, supporting Trump. Kellyanne Conway, the Lincoln Project. So the Lincoln Project is her husband, George Conway. If you read all of George Conway's tweets, you would, towards Trump, you'd think he's a super liberal. He's not. He's conservative. Remember, Republican and Democrat are parties. Ideology, conservative ideology or liberal ideology, that's your belief system. The others are just vehicles to hopefully get you elected to something so you can hopefully expand your belief system to the rest of the globe or wherever it is that you're trying to expand it. He's going to be leaving that. She's leaving the White House. They're focusing on their family. They have some issues with their daughter. And so that is, he said he's taking a step back. She's taking a step back. She's leaving the White House here in the next few days. So it's interesting to see the way that plays itself out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us, text the program as well. Love hearing from every one of you. Who's speaking tonight? That'll be interesting. Find out who's speaking. Is there going to be any surprises? Besides Trump speaking 4 days, what else you got? It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Optimistic and upbeat convention this week from President Trump and our Republican allies, and actually from our Democratic and independent allies as well. One of the things you're going to see this week is a complete change in the perception that I believe that the media tries to tell about what a Trump supporter looks like or who a Trump supporter is. We're going to talk about the American story, about all the accomplishments that we've had over the last 4 years with President Trump and what the president's second-term vision is going to look like.
Jason Miller right there, Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. He follows all this stuff for us, so we don't have to. That's the beauty of what we do here in the Chad Benson Show. We outsource some of the painful. Jim joins us at Righty Jim. Follow him on the Twitter. All right, Jim. So last week was a hate fest minus the last night of Biden. Tonight kicks off Trump Fest. That's the best way to describe it because it's really only about Trump. It's not about the vision of the party. It is Trump Fest. So what do we expect compared to last week?
Well, we probably are going to get a switch in the narrative. Going to probably be Trump good, Biden bad. Or they just might take the high road and say this is why you should vote for the Republican Party and Donald Trump. But we'll see we'll have to see what else is going on. There's a number of initiatives that I saw were released late last night, which Trump wants to put in 1 million jobs in 10 months. And of course, fixing Corona, curing Corona, and many other things like that. So we'll have to see if those things are laid out all throughout the convention or if they're just laid out in Donald Trump's acceptance speech on Thursday. But tonight there are a number of speakers on the agenda, and I believe today is each night has a different theme, and I believe Monday is the Land of Opportunity theme.
The Land of Opportunity. Oh, my God. Now, Jim, they said they were going to have some surprises because last week you had a lot of Republicans. I tell everybody, you had a lot of. They're not Republicans. They're rhinos. No, they're not rhinos. You had a lot of conservatives. Conservatives and Democrats are two different things. The conservatives, Republicans. We get caught up in the names, but the reality is. Republican and Democrats, those are just vehicles. Those are parties. Conservatives and liberals, that's an ideology. What are the Republicans going to have up their sleeve? Because they said they've got some people who are going to come out and speak besides the McCluskeys, which are the people who pointed the guns at the Black Lives Matter protesters. Do they have anything surprising? Are we going to get some Democrats who are like, I can't believe that person came out?
There's going to be one Democrat who switched over parties, and they're also who's going to be speaking later in the week. But yeah, they're going to have them as Kloskeys who are going to speak tonight, who I believe are Democrats, even though they had they did own guns and have been were charged earlier, and I believe those charges have been deferred by the state attorney general in Missouri. But yeah, they will have a couple of people they're going to bring in, but mostly it's going to be about Trump because hey, when you're Trump, it is always about Trump. And talking more about, you brought up a good point there with the difference in the parties. Remember, and I've gone over this before when we were back in there in 2016, is that Trump isn't really a Republican or a conservative. Trump is a Trumpian. And there's many things that Trump says that Republicans and conservatives will agree with, and there's many things that conservatives do not agree with on Donald Trump. So he is able to irritate conservatives and please them often in different days. So that's one of the issues that is with Trump. He's not really doesn't have the ideology, as you were mentioning, of a conservative, and that's also why you've gotten these factions spring off like the Project Lincoln and others, where they basically don't think that Trump follows Republican ideology appropriately enough and don't like Donald Trump for various reasons. He wouldn't hire them or whatever, and why there are these never Trumpers or anti-Trumpers that are out there, more so than you've really ever seen with any president probably in the last, 80 years, maybe Teddy Roosevelt back around the turn of the 19th century, maybe the only person as a Republican that generated this much ire amongst Republicans.
Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. This is Michael Steele. Listen to this. He's the former head of the RNC talking about Trump people.
We are about something other than one man, and we're willing to speak to the country about something other than one man. I've been a Republican for over 40 years. I'll be damned if I'm going to cede that ground to Donald Trump, who is not now, nor has he ever been a Republican, who is not now, nor has he ever been a conservative. So all y'all want to play this little game that Donald Trump is like you're stupid. You're being played. You're getting punked. But what's so bad about it is you're complicit in your own punking.
Yeah, so those are some harsh words for Trump supporters. But I mean, look, I'm not calling them stupid. People will. I'm not going to do that. Look, not that there isn't stupid on both sides. I think we all know that. Human beings inherently can be stupid. The reality is, though, Trump has brought people to the party that don't really care about politics. And if Trump's not there, if they're not voting, it's a weird thing that the Republicans are trying to do. How do they keep those people eventually when Trump is gone and not insult them? Because if I am, because let's be real, Michael Steele, George Conway, many of these other conservatives, their hope is that Trump loses and that they hold on to the Senate and that they strengthen themselves in the House and that they start to rebuild from there. That's a tough thing to do when you insult people who vote for Trump, but you need their votes.
Absolutely. And Michael Steele, a lot of what Michael Steele says is true. And also, let's declare Michael Steele has been a never Trumper since one of the first, since early days of Trump running for president. So he's clearly on that never Trump side. But he does say a lot of things that are accurate in there about Trump. Trump hasn't been a lifelong Republican. Trump isn't an ideologue. Trump doesn't believe in conservative philosophies. He is Trumpian. He's not left. He's not right. He's Trumpian. But it's a good question, though, what the Republicans do with those people and how they keep them is going to be based upon what comes in after Trump. If Trump wins, obviously they keep them through the next election cycle, and then into 24, that will be the challenge depending upon who runs. Is it Mike Pence? Is it someone like a Larry Hogan out of Maryland? Is it someone completely different? Is it a Tim Scott out of South Carolina? We don't know yet. Nikki Haley is one of the people that's been mentioned. 4 years, who knows what's going to happen? Who thought in 2012 Donald Trump would be the Republican nominee? In 2016, virtually nobody. So you never know what's going to happen in 4 years. If Trump loses, the field again is wide open. Those same people I mentioned are eligible and can go out there and would be, possible candidates. But the Republican Party would be remaking itself. Whether Trump can hold on to its grasp of the party after he loses is probably not going to happen. But how do you bring those people in that were not very political, as you said previously, is going to be a challenge for the Republicans. And you're going to basically have to address their issues that the reason that they came forward and had always been on the sidelines. And those are the types of things like trade issues and job issues that Republicans hadn't necessarily hit on for those people before, and Trump does.
Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. So it starts off tonight. Again, it is supposed to be much more optimistic. Look at us, land of the free, land of the opportunity, land of, the things that they're going to roll out, Land O'Lakes, whatever it is that makes them feel better. Here's the thing. I don't want to see a bitch fest, but I'm sure we're going to get a bit of that when it comes to Trump more than anybody else. I think Trump is going to be, he can't think. Biden doesn't even know where he's at. She's a nasty woman. Look what she did to Kavanaugh. And that to me is a huge turnoff. And I want to be part of that. Trump's got a big issue at the end of the day, though, because he's still behind. How does he win back people? Especially when it comes to the coronavirus, Jim, because in reality, whether it's all his fault or not all his fault, in that position, you're usually going to get all the credit or all the blame. And right now, there's blame to go around, and he's getting a ton of it, as he should. How does he try to paint the picture? We're going to be better. We're going to be stronger. Look what it could have been. Look at us now. How does he do that and get people to believe it?
Yeah, no, that's a very tough question. This is something no president in 100 years has faced, and even then, not to the level that Donald Trump has faced it because of the number of deaths. According to the Democrats, Donald Trump is responsible for every single death that's occurred in COVID. According to the Republicans, they've done the best, according to Donald Trump, they've done the best job that was possible, and that unfortunately we've had people die from this, 175,000 and growing on a daily basis. For the Republicans, most of them don't really necessarily view Trump as the problem for coronavirus. China lied to us. We weren't able to get prepared. We weren't able to see this coming because of it. The true extent wasn't told. They do need to get past it. They need to, though they are going to talk about frontline healthcare workers, first responders. But yeah, it is a very kind of delicate subject. How do you do that without reminding people there's 175,000 Americans dead? And like you said, it is on his watch one way or another, regardless if he wants to take responsibility for it or not. A lot of people are going to do that. Where Trump is really needs to focus is on suburban women, and he needs to focus, like you said, on those people that had come into the party in 2016 that had not been voters before or are crossover voters from the Democrats that were labor unions that like the idea of bringing back jobs from overseas for manufacturing. So that's where he's got to focus on, and how those, how basically having like a rah-rah big 4th of July festival type of thing, America the Great, is going to do that. We'll have to see, but that's what they got to focus on are the issues that are addressing basically white suburban women and the people in the labor force that have been disaffected, especially those that have been disaffected by coronavirus. Like I said, one of the things that the Trump administration has put out there for its second term agenda is create 10 million jobs in 10 months and to create 1 billion new small businesses. Now that's a great number, but how you actually do that is kind of where the, is where the rubber meets the road. And that's where they're going to have to kind of show how they're going to do it.
Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. We're talking about what to look forward to when it comes to the RNC. Give us one person tonight that people are going to be talking about tomorrow.
Oh, probably would be Kim Klacik, the woman from Baltimore who did the big viral video from last week, who walked around Baltimore. She was a Republican, African-American, running for a seat in central Baltimore, which is largely black. It was the seat that Cummings used to had until he passed away, and that's going to be challenging. And you're also going to probably have Tim Scott speaking tonight. That'll be interesting. And it will be seeing what the McCloskeys say while they're up there. Could be a non-event, or it could be something that makes headlines tomorrow. So that you're also going to have Ronna McDaniel, the head of the RNC, Don Trump Jr., followed by Kimberly Guilfoyle. I personally will be watching Kimberly Guilfoyle speak because she's Kimberly Guilfoyle. So, but it'll be interesting. Monday night's kind of the lead off. You don't really get the real big hitters there. Kind of as the week progresses, you get the bigger hitters coming along. But we'll have to see what goes on and what's said, and whether Trump, tweets out anything interesting that creates more ruckus on Twitter, because, well, Trump is Trump, and Trump with a Twitter can be his best and worst enemy.
Absolutely. Jim Kennedy, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Give us a wrap up and to look forward to tomorrow night. You have a good day. We'll do it again. Follow him at Righty Jim, 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet us. Masterclass. Now, I love my masterclass, and if you don't know what masterclass is, let me break it down for you. How would you like to be taught? All the things you thought about doing. Photography, skateboarding, anything. 85 different classes from the best of the best in the world. From the likes of Annie Leibovitz to Shonda Rhimes, one of the greatest writers in entertainment, to Tony Hawk teaching you skateboarding, Serena Williams teaching you tennis, and so much more. Kasparov teaching you. Are you ready for this? Chess. It's incredible. Gordon Ramsay teaching you to cook. How they break it down is pretty simple. About 20 lessons per class, 10 minutes per lesson. You do everything at your own pace. And you can do it from anywhere. You can do it from your phone, your computer, your tablet, your smart TV. It's that simple. You get downloadable materials. That's what each class is supported by. You get workbooks, exercises, recipes, and more. And it's amazing. It truly is. I recommend you check it out. Get unlimited access to every masterclass just for being a Chad Benson Show listener right now. 15% off the annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/Benson. That's masterclass.com/Benson. And save 15% right there. Masterclass.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
Justice League star Ray Fisher may get some justice if his claims are true.
Thanks, Alfred. But I'll take it from here.
The actor who played Cyborg in the blockbuster said last month that director Joss Whedon's on-set treatment of the cast and crew was gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable. Whedon took over as director from Zack Snyder in order to finish the film. Now Fisher tweets that Warner Media has launched an investigation into what he calls a toxic and abusive work environment created during filming. Whedon is yet to comment on the allegations.
Toxic. Let me tell you how the world of acting is. It's brutal. Especially directors. First of all, directors, by and large, can't stand actors. There's a lot of them out there that can't. Directors who are actors, and vice versa, actors become directors, they're better. But a lot of certain directors, it's like Stanley Kubrick he used to be, like, people talk about working for him as insane. You hear people say, nope, not going to do it. I can't work with this guy. And there was an Eyes Wide Shut. He made Tom Cruise walk through a door like 75 plus times. And he wasn't even there. He told the assistant producer, tell Tom he's going to do this. Just because. It's like, I'm not going to. You hear about stories with James Cameron, and the same thing goes, with Francis Ford Coppola. Toxic work environment is an understatement. It's brutal. They just, those people are a pain in the ass. Just do what I tell you to do. And then there's some people, like, everybody wants to work with Woody Allen. Why? Because he's a brilliant filmmaker? No, because he's okay. As far as working for. We can get into the other stuff, but people like working for him because he's kind of like, it's like playing for like a coach. Like, some coaches are brutal. They're hard. They work you hard. They overwork you. They tear you down. There's never anything in there that is positive, and you get to the point where you hate playing, and you start to question your abilities, and then the team gets uptight. And then what ends up happening? You start to see it fray. People get mad and angry. They start to leave. They want trades. Sell me now if you're a soccer player. Get me out of here. I don't want to play here anymore. Then they bring somebody else in. And who's that somebody else? It's a player's coach. Put your arm around him. Say hi. What's going on? How you doing? I want to know about you. That's what, and I think there's a lot of that in politics, like with Trump. Right? Trump's not that guy. Joe Biden is. Trump's not that guy at all. Joe Biden is. So you need to find the happy medium. Because if you're going to be a coach that's a hard ass, or a politician or a businessman, no matter what it is, you have to have that person inside of your sphere that's close to you, usually second in charge, that can go out after you've destroyed somebody, or you've hammered a narrative, or you've worked them hard, or you've done something. You need to have that person that can go out and smooth things over. So, yeah, in the entertainment industry, hell yeah, I've worked for guys like that are just awful human beings. Just brutal. In saying that, did I learn a lot? I did. Usually a coach like that, you learn a lot, or a person you work for, you learn a lot. But then it gets to the point where that message only goes so far. For a while, they may make you better, and then the message falls on deaf ears. Same thing for working for that, I'm sure, in politics as well. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, Chad Benson Show TV is where you check out the Chad Benson Show TV. It's on the YouTube. It is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Welcome to the 2020 Republican National Convention!
Hey, you know what's a win? We'd be there if it wasn't for coronavirus. That's a win. Chad, did you want to be there? Yeah, based on my last time at the conventions, weren't thrilled by it. Especially being out there in Cleveland. And this is nothing against Cleveland, but pretty much everything against Cleveland. Just being out in the garage. I just wasn't a fan of that. You guys got to stay in the garage. Everybody had to. That was Ronna McDaniel. So it's kicked off. It's underway. A little bit different. Let's go. Alex Stone, ABC News, talking about what it looks like.
In the room where the convention business is actually happening in Charlotte, delegates are sitting at tables in a ballroom meeting-style format. Most are wearing masks and are separated by 6 feet between the chairs. It is a very different convention than President Trump had envisioned in either Charlotte or Jacksonville, but business is getting done.
The business is getting done. So that had to be done. So there's certain business that has to be done. And they do the roll call and the whole 9 yards. And then, it comes to the delegates and everything. And, so that stuff is the business that has to be done. And then you can move to the fun stuff, which is throughout the day. You'll be hearing different speeches, and it's the land of prosperity. It's the land of opportunity. There's supposed to be more upbeat than what was last week's DNC.
And this is a big difference, Chuck, between President Trump in his convention this week and the Democrats last week. Last week, it was a massive grievance fest. We didn't hear about the vision for the future, how their policies would help people. And there's a reason for that. The reason is because they didn't want to talk about the $4 trillion in tax hikes, a Green New Deal at a time when we can't afford to stop our economy and our economic growth. They want to throw it in reverse and go back to the policies of the past. That's wrong.
Yeah. So this is supposed to be upbeat. This is supposed to be, hey, we can do it. This is going to be awesome. Everything's going to be great. Everything's going to be amazing. The world's going to be a fantastic place. And a lot of it, look, this is a race because of the coronavirus. I'm going to tell you that right now. If the coronavirus was not here, we wouldn't be having this conversation. The economy would still be motoring along. We'd be up in the 31,000 when it comes to the Dow, which is not the indicator. People are like, well, I don't trade in stocks, so what do I care? I'm like, do you have a 401k? But yeah, where do you think that money is? Do you think it's magical 401k fairy gives you all that? Is that what you think? No. That's the marketplace, silly. A lot of that is pumping money by the feds into the marketplace itself. But still, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Record low unemployment. Yeah, we would not be having this conversation at all if it wasn't for the coronavirus. And who knows where the coronavirus is going to go from here? Is it going to get worse? Is it going to get better? Probably a little bit of both. What happens come the beginning of the season of the flu, because people are out there getting flu shots now. Here's the one thing about the flu. I don't think the flu season is going to be that bad for one big reason. If you're staying indoors, if schools are closed, and you're working out of the house half the time, we're no longer in the position that we once were when normally the flu's here. And we're wearing masks and we're washing our hands every time we come in and leave a room, it seems like. Then I doubt the flu season is going to be all that bad. Of course they're going to explain, well, this could be the worst flu season in the history of flu seasons because of the whole thing. It's probably not. That's just me. I'm a guy that looks around and I take stock of things and say, I don't think this flu season, all things being equal right now, right? The flu season and coronavirus, because there's that battle that'll be going on. That would be normally if there was, if this was just a regular flu season, we would definitely have could be a nasty flu season. And by the way, we've never said, the flu season is going to definitely influence an election. But coronavirus has. But if you look out, say, the next 65, 70 days, I don't think we're back to full freight of living. I don't think the train's going down the track at 100 miles an hour. I don't think everybody's back to work and every school's open. So that alone is going to slow down the spread of the flu because we're going to be doing less. We're going to be out there less. Here's the question, though, because politics has gotten in the middle of this. What do we do right now? What can Trump do, potentially, in the political scheme of things as well as the health scheme of things to hopefully get a handle on this in some way, shape, or form. He's trying that. He's throwing up potentially a Hail Mary with plasma.
The FDA has issued an emergency use authorization, and that's such a powerful term, emergency use authorization for a treatment known as convalescent plasma. This is a powerful therapy that transfuses very, very strong antibodies from the blood of recovered patients to help treat patients battling a current infection. It has proven to reduce mortality by 35%. It's a tremendous number.
That would be. That would absolutely be something amazing if that's true. FDA is going to zip it on through and see what happens. Some people are a little skeptical. Some people a little worried about this.
I want a really high-quality study to help me understand for whom is it benefit, how beneficial is it, and I'm worried that the EUA will actually make it harder to get that study done.
Dr. Jha, they're talking about the plasma therapy, talking about being able to get real studies about this. So what you do is people that have recovered, you take the antibodies out of the inside of the plasma, you give it to somebody who is sick. Now, much like a lot of other things, see, remember when this first broke down and we started going over this, and hydrochloroquine was one, and then you had remdesivir and all of these. When we were given hydrochloroquine and remdesivir, those are Hail Marys. People who say hydrochloroquine works says you can't give it as a Hail Mary. It's not going to work. Once it gets to a certain level, it's ineffective. If you get to them early on, it's effective. What they're saying about this in the limited area is if you give it to them early, you're going to cut down in the deaths. So you got to give it to them early in the game. Usually about 5 days after they test positive. That's what people say that say about hydrochloroquine. If you give it to them within about 5 days or so of them testing positive or finding out they're sick, and you give it to them super early, it will stop them from getting bad. That's what they say. Other doctors out there have said that. You can't give it to them late. You give it to them late, it doesn't work.
I just want to emphasize this point because I don't want you to gloss over this number. We dream in drug development of something like a 35% mortality reduction. This is a major advance in the treatment of patients. This is a major advance.
That's Azar there. Health cat that runs everything. We'll see. We'll see if it's a major reduction. How Trump plays this off over the next 3-4 days, because he'll be out there. How long is he out there tonight? Because he could go on for hours each night. He's going to have the platform to do it. How he plays this thing out, because at the end of the day, he's the guy that everybody's looking at. You're the guy that's on top of the mountain. You're the guy where the buck stops with you. You're the guy who should have better testing. You're the guy who should have played this better, and you didn't. Albeit, you got on China early, everybody called you a racist, and they all took back their tweets because they realized it was the right thing to do. I don't think you could have stopped it from arriving on our shores, and I think having 50 individual states try to do their own thing was always tough, but that's the beauty of the country that we live in, is we have 50 individual states that are allowed to do their own thing. It's also at times our weakness. But you're the guy. So how do you do that? How do you make it sound like, look, things are better? This is a moment in time. We'll get through this. A year from now, we'll be roaring again. A year from now, we'll be back to the pre-coronavirus levels. A year from now, we'll see the employment level rise. We'll be feeling good about ourselves. A year from now, we'll be there. You got to stick with me. It's been tough. He's got to convince people of that. Those middle-of-the-road voters who may like Trump in his actions, but hate Trump in his attitude. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. Hello Fresh is delicious. It's amazing. And it's easy. It's America's #1 meal kit. So what is it? So you get it sent to you. It's contact free. That's great. You're going to save money. If you go to the store and you buy the same food, you can save about 40%. And it's easy to prepare. About 20 minutes from the time that you decide, I'm going to do this. This is what we're doing tonight. to the time you start to consume and getting in your belly. How does it work? Simple. You get 22 chef-curated recipes every week, and they come in, maybe you want, I don't know, you're saying to yourself, family-friendly. I got that. Maybe you're like a vegetarian. They got vegetarian. Maybe you want low-calorie. You're trying to lose some of the COVID-19. Guess what? You can choose from them. Delivered straight to your door, and then you just assemble it, and away you go. And boy, is it easy. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Plus, they're flexible. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you're saying to yourself, Self, I'm going to be gone next week. I don't need this food coming here. You can postpone it for a week. Maybe, just maybe, you want to add meals. You got family coming. You can do the same thing. They're flexible. HelloFresh.com, America's #1 meal kit. When you go there, use promo code Benson. You get $80 off your first box, plus free shipping. HelloFresh.com, promo code Benson for $80 off and free shipping. HelloFresh.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
I'm so tired. I'm exhausted.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show. Children are more likely to be harmed by staying away from school than from being exposed to COVID-19, according to Britain's top medical officers. They say studies show not going to school hurts children's ability to succeed in life and could worsen physical and mental health issues. The experts also say children are less likely than adults to contract the virus and have exceptionally low risk of dying from the illness. The statement comes as parents and teachers are concerned about reopening schools next month. It's unclear whether British researchers take into account the threat of community spread.
Yeah, so that battle's going on in Britain. It's going on everywhere. Here in America, it's going on. Do they go back? Don't they go back? Do they go back? Don't they go back? And here it's become teachers feel like they're not getting the stuff that they need. And in some places, I think that's true. In other places, I look over and I think to myself, this feels like very much a political ploy. So my little brothers were supposed to go back to school 2 weeks ago. It's all been pushed out to at least middle to end of October. So they're probably not going back to school till after Christmas, if they go back at all. So they've had months to prepare for school. Because if originally it was quick, they had to try to put together some programs that they possibly could do in a much easier and better way so they could teach online. It's been a joke. It's been worse. My mother's like, it's worse than it was before. They had months to get ready, and they failed. So she's pulled 2 of them out, and she's putting them in private school. She's like, this is a joke. And when I hear say it's about the kids, it's not about the kids. It's about the teachers. It's about the teachers. You feel that you could be in danger and that it's not safe, and I'm not going to, that's a you thing. If that's what you feel, I have no problem with that because I don't know what goes on in your life. I don't know who you take care of you. I don't know what your underlying health conditions are. I don't know any of those things. But in some places, I feel like that this is very much a situation that is very political. And it shouldn't be. My son's been struggling. I picked him up yesterday. Jack he reached his breaking point. And he's out here with me now. And we're going to have, I've got vacation next week, so we're going to do a lot of different things. But it's been a struggle because not only has he not had school, he's had no sports. He's had no interaction with friends outside of being on the computer. And that's a big thing. And this is going to become another battle that goes on in the coming weeks and months because parents are getting pissed. Parents are getting angry. Out here in Arizona, it's gotten to the point now where there was a lot of goodwill between the parents and the teachers over the last year and a half, 2 years. Parents supported the hell out of the teachers and making sure they got a raise, have really been pushing hard for the teachers, and over the last 4 or 5 weeks, that has all gone away. Because every time they say they give them an opportunity to say their piece, they seem to change the things that they want inside of a classroom. And it's a struggle. It really is. And it's a struggle for kids, man. It really, watching my son Jack and the frustration and anger, how pissed he is at times, which is totally not like him. It's real. And I think if you're a parent, you understand that, you see that. And if he had even if he stayed home, right? He had the opportunity to work out every single day, to play on sports teams, to do all those kind of things, that would mitigate some of it. But we don't even have that. And it's showing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. You can text the program as well. Tonight's a big, exciting night. The RNC Night 1. What's it going to be like? Hopeful? Cheerful? Optimistic?
And I think you're going to see a very hopeful vision for America that he's going to be unleashing. You're going to see a real diversity of the Republican Party that he's built. You're going to see it's going to be different than how the media tells you. And unlike the Democrats last week, where there was a lot of complaints, they didn't offer much by way of policy or solutions. President Trump will be laying out, real policies, real visions, real solutions for how he brings our country back and makes it stronger than ever before.
Kushner, will he be doing that? I think they will. I just don't want to hear hours of bitching. So I heard that last week. You watched the Democratic Party. Nothing last week said, wow, their platform is anything but that guy. That's not the platform. And Trump better figure out he's his best salesman, but you're going to have to sell the people that aren't in your base, that aren't on your side at this moment in time. And negative's not going to do it for me. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It's particularly dangerous to talk about polling before the debates because so much can change. And we've had half of the elections going back to 1968. One half of them have seen a change of 10 points or more between the candidate who's leading on Labor Day and what happens on Election Day.
That is Frank Luntz talking about polling. Right now, doesn't look great for Trump, although he is making some strides. The RNC kicks off. He's going to have 4 nights that he gets to command and demand all of the time he wants. This is the big infomercial that the Republicans have. Last week's infomercial was, he sucks. He's awful. He's horrible. He sucks. He's awful. He's horrible. And if you watched any of the other Zoom meetings, it was mostly about individual groups, identity politics. There was some other stuff in there that was okay, but none of that stuff ever gets pushed to the forefront because it's all about the splash. It's reality television, all that stuff. But polls-wise right now, and polls, again, since the beginning of the Trump era, haven't been great. And there's a lot of reason for that. And there's a good reason to think that they may be even more broken in some ways because of how polarizing we have become. People are afraid to say, you support Trump? Did you wear a MAGA? Why? Because you do that, you're automatically a Nazi.
So I say to people, take them with a grain of salt. Take a look at the movement, at the change between surveys over a week, 10 days, 2 weeks. And the trend for Donald Trump has actually been favorable. It's been positive over the last 3-4 weeks.
He's made some moves. In some Rasmussen polls and a few others, he's gone from 10, 11 points behind. He's cut that to 7. And some that he was behind by about 7, he's cut that down to 3 or 4. He's making some moves. We've not got to the time where you're going to look up and you're going to say, okay, here we go. This is it. This is debate time. Because Trump is in what I call in boxing the championship rounds. Championship rounds. Used to be 13th, 14th, 15th. Now it's 10th, 11th, 12th. You're down. You're down. You're behind in the cards. You're not winning. You have one way to win. It's a knockout punch. He can deliver that in these 3 debates. He could. Right now, though, like Frank Lutz, if you asked me,
I'm going to say something that's going to bother you and may bother some of your viewers. I still believe that if the election were held right now, were held today, Joe Biden would win. But we've got the Republican convention coming up. We got the debates coming up. And the trend is definitely over the past couple of weeks in Donald Trump's favor.
Yeah. If it was held today, here's the thing. It's not being held today. It's being held in 3 months. So you've got September, October to still battle out, a little bit of August, and then the beginning part of November. So about 2.5 months. And you still have yet to have the games. Meaning we haven't had any kind of debate whatsoever. Not just I go up on stage and I read my stuff that everybody's prepared for me and I've had it built up but the actual debate itself, where you're going to have questions and then those questions are going to have follow-up questions and you're going to have those. Now, and everything's a big if Biden holds strong in those and everything stays the way that it is right now as far as the coronavirus and stuff, I think that Biden will probably win. But that's a big if. We've got a lot of time still left, even though it's a short amount of time and it's just getting on us fast. At the same time, we have a lot of amount of time because in a 24-hour news cycle of which we live, things can change like that. You know it and I know it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. This is always fun. So, family members, everybody out there listening, if you've ever had a family member that's had a little bit of money, or you've had a successful family member or two, when people die or when there's things that are needed, it could get ugly. I've had that in my family. We've had an ugly situation where half of our family doesn't talk anymore because of something that happened 20 years ago over an inheritance and stuff like that. And it was ugly. Now you've got Marianne Trump Barry, Mary Trump, on a microphone talking about the Donald, who he is.
And Donald's out for Donald, period. When he said, well, look at what I've done for you. And I said, you have done nothing deliberately. I have never asked him for a favor since 1981 when I was being highly considered to go in the federal court on my own merits. I never used the name Trump. It was never part of my makeup. Right. Until John and I got married, I had to make the transition. But long story being short.
So, she's never asked for anything for Trump, except for that one thing. Well, what was that one thing? She needs to get to Reagan in some way, shape, or form.
Reagan was the president, and can you ask Roy Cohn, to call Reagan, because they were like kissing buddies. The next day I had the nomination. I probably would have gotten it on the merits. Anyway, Reagan was running for re-election. He needed a woman. A woman, yeah. And I was top government prosecutor in the United States.
Yeah. Now, who is Roy Cohn? First of all, probably the most influential person in the history of Trump's life. Secondly, you ask Trump to whisper in the ear of Roy, to whisper in the ear, and the next day you get the nomination? That's pretty... Come on. And this is what families are. They're fighting. They fight. They do. How much do you take? I take everything here with a grain of salt. Do I think Trump's out for Trump? That's real, but I don't need you to tell me that. And he got to Reagan. You didn't. Why? Because he could get to Roy. Because Roy was a phone call away. Because Roy was his mentor.
It's got God, tweet and the lying. Oh my God, I'm talking too freely, but the change of stories, the lack of preparation, the lying, the holy. But he's appealing to the base, what they're doing with the kids at the border.
Obviously, this was a while ago. Now, then they start getting into Fox and a bunch of other stuff that was very, very interesting. Because Trump loves Fox News. He doesn't read. She kind of makes fun of him for that. Talks about college. Remember the whole thing about college? Somebody paid his SAT. So this is where it came from.
But he was a tough kid, right? He was a brat. Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't mean tough at all. I mean, a brat, a temper tantrums,
I drove him around New York City to try to get him into college. He ended up in Fordham. I didn't get him in, but I know he didn't get into college. And he went to Fordham for 1 year, and then he got into University of Pennsylvania. I guess he had somebody to take the exams.
No way.
Oh, there it is. She thinks that, right? This is sibling rivalry. This is exactly what it is. And the Democrats will jump all over this. When there is a family dispute, when there's a battle amongst families like this, like you say, I never asked him to do anything except the most important thing ever. And he did do that. And I got nominated, but I was probably going to get nominated anyway.
Yeah, but Marianne Trump is no ordinary Trump. She's basically a retired federal judge. Been Senate confirmed. She comes with credibility.
Chuck, I can tell you in my conversations with the president over the years, I've only heard him say positive things about his sister, someone who's a very accomplished judge, and I think he's very proud of everything that she has accomplished.
Jason Miller there talking about that. But there's nothing new. There's a battle. This is what families do, right? They fight. And that one call, can you ask Roy Cohn, the guy who mentored Trump, the most influential? His father was the most influential person in his life. He was second. Roy Cohn was easily number one. Roy Cohn built whatever you see now. That's a Roy Cohn thing. Guy was McCarthy's right-hand man in the trials. I mean, this guy he helped build Trump. He's the one who said, you never apologize. Never admit your mistakes. Just keep going. Keep plowing through. You ask, it's amazing. Like if producer Phil says, hey, Chad, can you do me a solid? I say, what do you want me to do? He says, can you call up, I mean, they know me, but Rush needs a new drummer. Can you just call up Geddy Lee and just put my name in the hat? I mean, they're probably going to, so I call up Geddy Lee. Say, hey, Geddy, and take a listen to this guy. And he gets the gig. That's a pretty good solid. That would be a pretty good solid. I don't know if Phil's ready for that. That kind of fame be huge.
Definitely not ready for it.
You're ready for it. Come on now. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Love hearing from each and every single one of you. We're going to talk about something when we come back, about the fact-checking world. What happens tonight when the media starts going, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie. How does that work? Who covers what? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. My Pillow is amazing. Sleep well and get your BOGO going on. Buy one, get one free. It's that simple. You buy one, you get one free. Now, every My Pillow product, and we're talking about all of the products they have, from the sheets to the towels to the My Pillow itself to the Don't Go Anywhere pillow, you name it, everything, mattress topper, all of it. You buy one, you get one free. You get a 10-year warranty, a 6-day money-back guarantee, and this is what I love. This is what I love about all of this stuff. It's made right here in the USA, which is awesome. It's simple and easy. You go there, you choose the things you want, and you buy the one, you get the one free. It's totally incredible. And here's the other thing. When you go to checkout, you go to mypillow.com, new radio listener special, type in code Benson. When you do that, on the way out, if you order Mike Lindell's book, he's going to ship everything for free and give you a $25 gift card. That's mypillow.com. The promo code is Benson. You get a buy one, get one free. Order his book. Ships it for free. Gives you a $25 gift card. mypillow.com. Promo code Benson. mypillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
The great state of Iowa fully sends, full send, unanimously, all of our votes to renominate you to lead our country, America, under God for 4 more years. Mr. President and Vice President, you're rehired.
It's the roll call. They're having fun out there. Look at that. It's the RNC.
Arkansas proudly cast its 40 votes for Donald J. Trump.
Woo! Good times, excitement. So tonight, 4 nights in a row, he's going to be speaking, which is totally something you don't see. You may see an appearance here, appearance there. Now the question becomes, how quick do they fact check him?
Television networks are going to have interesting choices to make, interesting decisions to make about whether to cut away if there's this stream of disinformation happening live. Daniel Dale, CNN's fact checker, he will be standing by. I think you will see him in prime time here on CNN, providing fact checks when necessary. But I also think we're going to see asymmetry in the way Fox covers the convention. Right, the 9 p.m. hour, Hannity was live during the Democrats, not really showing the Democratic convention. I suspect he will show a lot more of the Republican convention.
I expect that too. And I expect that CNN and MSNBC probably won't show as much. And here's my thing. If a president lies, that's on you to figure out what he's lying about. If you take everything a politician says to heart as gospel truth, that's on you. We've become so lazy in fact-checking anything. We need fact-checkers to fact-check for us. You figure it out.
But there's an asymmetry in the political universe. And sometimes it's called asymmetrical polarization, where there's more extreme behavior going on the right than on the left. There is an asymmetry in our media as well, where Fox is off there on the right in ways that the other networks are not, in the middle or on the left. And what we are seeing currently in our political system is asymmetrical lying, where one side does it a whole lot more than the other.
So now I'm going to jump in on this and say, Brian Stelter, that right there alone is an absolute lie. CNN has been found wanting, as has CNN. You lied the most. I expect Vox to tell. And by the way, lying is very relative when there's truth in a lot of what they say, but there's also lies and or things are being left out. Both sides do it. They only want to tell one side of a story, and they want you to go with it. It's just funny that of all the people, Brian Stelter and CNN are sitting there, like MSNBC does not hide who they are. Fox doesn't hide who they are. CNN wants you to believe that they're nothing but journalists and that everything they say is just facts, right? The who, what, when, how, and why. That's it. You get to make up your own mind. Come on.
Where one leader and his followers mislead the public a lot more than the other side. And if we don't tell that story truthfully and honestly, then we're part of the problem. Then we end up misleading people as well.
Tell your side of the story. And he'll tell his side. And let the people make it up. The reality is we've become lazy. We've become super lazy. People don't want to fact check anything. They don't want to look anything up. They don't want to see what's true and what's not true. They don't want to do any of that stuff. They want somebody else to do it for them. And then if they get an answer they really don't like, they may dig a little bit deeper. But if they get the answer they want from the fact checker that they go to, they'll... And the way that CNN fact checks the Republicans, and I remember when they fact check Hillary Clinton and the whole, her computer, her server, it was wiped clean like Clorox. They said that was false. That doesn't work like that. So that was a lie. It's not a lie. Like Clorox. Like Clorox. But they're going to paint the picture they want to paint. And the Fox will do the exact same thing. Hannity and Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham and all of them over there are going to twist and paint, and they're going to give you the side of the story that they want you to hear. That's the way it is. But at least Fox and MSNBC don't pretend. What drives me crazy about CNN is they pretend as if there's some sort of neutral. Trust me, I know a lot of them over there. They're anything but neutral. They're anything but. But they play it that way. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Text the programs going on throughout the day, into the evening, late into the evening. We'll see what it's like. We'll have reaction. Have a blessed and wonderful rest of your day or night. Be happy. Smile at each other. Don't be jerks. Shouldn't be that hard. As always, night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.